Oh, yeah, here we go again. Hello, and welcome into Ray on Sports. I am your host, Johnny Ray. In this podcast, we talk all things sports from my own opinion. You may agree or you may disagree, but all I do is ask that you listen. So come on in, buckle up, and let's take this ride. Hey, once again, this is Johnny Ray coming to you live from Ray on Sports. Back for another episode of Ray on Sports. This week we're going to talk some NBA basketball. NBA, oh my God, the NBA playoffs are going on, and I don't know if you're watching or seeing what's going on, but oh my God, it's crazy, 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 crazy. What I mean by crazy, but it's crazy. So much stuff going on in the NBA. A lot of teams that we thought was going to be there are not there anymore. A lot of teams that we didn't think was going to win are winning. So it's going on crazy. It's unbelievable. Can I say that again? Unbelievable. The NBA playoffs. It's fantastic. So I caught the tail end of the game tonight. It was the Minnesota Timberwolves against the Golden State Warriors, and Golden State put it on them. It was up the majority of the game by 20, and ended up winning, end up finishing out the game. Let me see what the score. Final score: Golden State 99, Minnesota 88. It was a pretty good game. Pretty good game. And if you don't know, Steph Curry went out with a hamstring injury. I think before the first half was over. He got hurt. It's a hamstring. He only played 13 minutes. Scored 13 points in 13 minutes, and then he left the game for the rest of the series. Buddy Hield stepped up real big. Oh my God, 5 for 8 from three. Ended up with 24 points. Jimmy Butler, 20 points, 4 of 6 from the free throw line. Draymond Green was Draymond Green. Had 18 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists. And 8 of his rebounds were defensive rebounds. So they Golden State is no joke. Even without Steph, they played the Minnesota Timberwolves, who took out the LA Lakers in the first round of the playoffs, which was a surprise to everybody. Everybody thought LA was going to go farther, especially with Luka and LeBron, but it didn't work like that. And I can say I've said it before, and I'll say it again. It was a bad matchup on the LA part. LA did not have no big presence in the middle, which changed the whole series. You had Julius Randle and you had Rudy Gobert in the center, and LA didn't have anybody that big to guard them. You had Julius Randle, but Julius Randle was banging against LeBron, and then you had Rudy Gobert, which they had no answer for. So they still they ran over him. But in this game, Golden State was almost the same way played almost the same way as the Lakers. They have small guards. They have a presence. They don't have a presence in the middle really, but they have Draymond Green. So Draymond kind of like takes the brunt of the centers and plays like that. But in this game, he didn't play. He played pretty good. Played with 5 fouls all the way to the fourth quarter, and he kept him in it. But like I said, they when I looked at it at one time, they were up by 20. They ended winning the entire game 99-88, but they were up by 20 for a while. So what am I saying? Some teams are built for playoffs, and some teams are not. What I mean by that is some teams, they can play in the playoffs and they can do what they need to do, but there's some teams that just ain't got it yet. And you saw that in the first round when the Houston Rockets got knocked out by the Golden State Warriors. Now, in all of betting world and ESPN bets and all the sporting bet apps and whatever like that, because Houston was the second seed, so they figured that Houston could take out Golden State because Golden State didn't have the length that Houston had. Golden State didn't have the stuff that Houston had, so they figured that that Houston would take out Golden State, but that wasn't the case. What really happened was that the Golden State Warriors veterans who've won championship before. Steph has, I believe, 4 championships, so they've been there, done that kind of thing. So they put it on them, and Houston thought they had them. They got a little antsy. I saw a couple of games. I didn't watch really much of it because I was too stressed about my Lakers, which is another story all in itself. But Golden State put their veteran presence came to fruition, and that's what's won the series. And Houston had never been on a big stage like that, so it was hard for them to get up for that game, I believe. I'm just speculating because, like I said, I didn't see the game. I haven't really seen anything about it. I haven't really seen anything about the series. I haven't been watching too much sporting ESPN shows or any other shows or NBA shows to find out exactly what really happened. But I kind of knew after I watched one game with them how Golden State could win this series. On the And it wasn't just Steph Curry. It was by committee. They played good defense. They baffled him a couple of times, and then Steph was being Steph. But in the game seven, what I've heard is that Buddy Hield, the one who took the game. So I didn't see that game, but I heard about it. They mentioned a little bit of it tonight, and that was one series. Let's go to State, Minnesota. The other series, which was that went on today, was Indiana and Cleveland. Now the thing about the Indiana and Cleveland, it was won by Tyrese Halliburton, game winner again, and I think Cleveland is shocked. You know what I mean? Because Cleveland's the number one seed. Cleveland's the one that everybody's picking to win the championship. But I can tell you this: even though you are the number one seed, you can have the best record in the league, but some team can have your number every time. No matter how good you play, no matter how good you really think you are, there's always that team that has your number. And I believe that they have their number. So it was crazy to think that the Indiana Pacers had a chance against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, the first round, Indiana had Milwaukee, and people didn't pick Indiana. They picked Milwaukee because Milwaukee had Giannis and they had Dame Letter. But then Dame got hurt, so Giannis was trying to carry it a little by himself, and he really didn't have a good supporting cast. They already had traded away Chris Middleton in like mid-season and got Kyle Kuzma. And Kyle Kuzma was supposed to fill in that Chris Middleton kind of role, but Kyle Kuzma is not that kind of player yet. He's you know what? I'll take that back. He is that kind of player, but he came from the Wizards, and the Wizards were losing badly. And it's something about when you play on a losing team for so long, it takes you a hard time to get back into that winning mentality. If some people might know what I'm talking about when I talk about that, you got to get into that winning mentality. You got to get into that groove of winning. But if you're on a team that's been losing and losing and losing, it's hard to overcome that. Because you're used to losing. It's the same thing in any sports. It's like the analogy I can use that I'm kind of familiar with is bowling. If you're bowling and you throw your first three balls you throw and you leave three opens, which is considered an open frame, like you don't get all the pins, that can throw your whole game off. And the whole rest of the rest of the other seven frames, or the other seven frames, you're trying to figure out what's wrong with my ball, why I'm not throwing it right. Maybe it's the lane, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. But, you start second guessing yourself when it's all it is probably a slight adjustment or a mentality change to say, okay, I can win. I might have started off wrong, but I can win. And that's something in life. You can always do that in life as well. Your life might start off wrong, but you can always turn it around. There's always a way to turn it around. There's always a way to win. So you may start off a bad way in life. Your life might not start off the way you think it should start off, but stick with it. You can win in the end. That's my little test. That's my little speech right there. That's my little encouragement to anybody who's listening if you want to hear about it. But yeah, like I said, so that's what I'm thinking about Kyle Kuzma is that he was drafted by the Lakers, got traded to the Wizards for I believe. Oh my God, I'm trying to think. When did that trade happen? I think he got traded for Westbrook. I think they got Westbrook from the Wizards because I think Westbrook was with the Wizards, and I thought we got Westbrook, and then that didn't work out too well. But anyway, Kuzma was with the Wizards for about 3 seasons, I believe. Then they got traded to Milwaukee. So, like I'm saying, he got to Milwaukee and had to learn that mentality, that winning mentality again. Like, oh, if we're down, we can come back. That's the kind of mentality I'm talking about. That's like a Jordan Ness mentality. That's like a Tom Brady mentality. That's like a Joe Montana mentality. All the greats. A Kobe Bryant mentality that you're never down too much to win a game. You always got that driving force, and that's what keeps you winning. So I don't think Kuzma had that. I think it got to him, and that's just my own personal opinion. I could be wrong, but that's my opinion on it. Is that if you don't have that winning mentality, you can't win. So, like I said, in the Golden State series and their games, they have that winning mentality. They've won before. They've won in a high level. They've won championships. So for them, this is nothing. Playoffs are nothing. They know how to come back. They know how to fight to get back in the game. They and if you don't know, in today's NBA, a 20-point lead ain't nothing. Nothing. If you go up by 20 in the first quarter, that ain't nothing because of the 3-pointer, because of this, because of that, because of the 3-point shot, because of presence in the middle, because of a rebound, because of defense. You can always come back from a 20-point deficit. It's not like it used to be when you in an older NBA games, you'd be down by 20 and it was like it's just a struggle to try to win the game. And usually by halftime, early third quarter, team then gave up. But in this NBA, you done seen teams come back. I've seen so many games this year where a team was down 20 and came back and won. Down 15, came back and won. I think the game yesterday, the Boston Celtics and the New York Knicks game. I'm sorry, they were down by 20. Knicks were down by 20 and came back and won that game. So it's a different feel going on right now in the playoffs. So every team that people think should be winning is not really winning. And I believe, see, this is my psychological part of it because this is real on sports, and I give you the real, and I give you how I think players think and feel and mentalities. I don't just give you stats. I give you the insights and my insights and my things about what I think that the teams are doing. So what I think is that um, teams hear that they're the best. They're unstoppable. They're undefeated. They're beaten. And they're younger teams, so they're not really veterans. Veterans know, we ain't won nothing yet. We ain't win nothing until we can hold that Larry O'Brien trophy up. In any sports, if you have a veteran team, they know what it takes to win. If you have a young team, they go by the hype and like, oh yeah, we the best team. Yeah, we get this. Oh, we can do this. Oh, we can do that. We can take out anybody. And then come to find out, you can't because you run up against a team like a Golden State team that's a veteran team that knows how to win, and they take you out. Ask Houston. That's what happened with them. People was hyping them. Oh, they're the number 2 seed. They're the second best. So you're the number 2 seed, which means you're the second best team in the West. Doesn't really mean that much. What I usually think, and this is my opinion on how teams get the best records in the league, is that when they're doing it, it's their first year as a full team, and you catch everybody by surprise. And by the time everybody catches up with you, it's halfway through the season. You got a better record. You're blowing teams out. You're doing this. You're doing that. And the teams that you're playing, like you're not playing a team over and over like a 7-game series. You're playing it one time and then you're gone, and then you playing these other teams. And by the time these teams figure out the game's over, and they're over to the next game. And then by the end of the season, it's like, oh, they're the best team in the league because of their record. Yeah, because they caught everybody by surprise. That was the same thing last year, I believe, with the Memphis Grizzlies and the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Memphis Grizzlies was the same thing last year. People had Memphis going all the way. Oh, they're the best team. John Morant's going to do this, and they're going to do that, and then they ran up against a wall of a veteran team that got them. Same thing that happened in this series. Minnesota came in this series thinking they were the better team over Golden State. I can tell you that right now. That's why they lost. I can tell you that right now. They were relaxing because the way I could tell is the mentality. I'm not saying it's a bad mentality because Minnesota has Julius Randle and Anthony Edwards, but I heard one of his pressers after they beat the Lakers, and he was like, "Well, we just beat the King." Don't have that mentality. Yeah, you beat him, but you beat a 40-year-old king. So you call that an accomplishment. Oh yeah, we just beat the king. We just beat the best. No, you beat a team that had two superstars on it that just got together and wasn't fully in stride, and actually were kind of, I think, kind of injured in the same way. And plus, it was a bad matchup. So you beat a team that you had a better matchup against. You had a big, they didn't have a big. Lakers didn't have a big in the middle. They didn't have nobody in the middle that could stop Rudy Gobert. So I think the fifth game, the closeout game, Rudy Gobert had like 20 something rebounds, 27. I think it was 29 points and like 22 rebounds. That's because the Lakers didn't have an inside presence. That changed the whole game. So you can't say that, oh, yeah, we beat the best team. We beat the king. Yeah, you beat him, but he's 40 years old, and plus you could tell he was lumbering up and down the court. They were trying their best to stay in the game. They have a young roster. They don't have a really good roster. So JJ Redick, the coach, didn't really trust anybody else to go in there to do anything. So he tried to stick with the people he thought could get him over, like LeBron and Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic and Rui Hachimura and Dory Finney-Smith. Those guys. and that's what JJ went with. Like, okay, these guys been here before. LeBron's won championships. Luka's been close. All these other guys been in, been in the playoffs before. They've been to the Western Conference Finals. They know how to win. But like I said, it was just a bad matchup all the way around. That's all it was. People can say what they want about the Lakers, and they can say, "Oh, LeBron, get rid of." You don't understand. If you keep saying that about a player because they lose, say, "Oh, he needs, y'all need to trade him," or you don't understand basketball. LeBron's a smart basketball player. Yeah, he had a bad series, and he probably knows he had a bad series, but he probably understands why he had a bad series. And then people go back and say, "Well, you should have never traded AD." That wouldn't have made a difference. When you come against a team and it's a bad matchup and you're not ready for them, you're going to lose every time. So ask the Boston Celtics, ask the Cleveland Cavaliers. Cleveland Cavaliers got the best team in the league, and if they went up against Indiana then beat them twice in their own home. So they didn't beat them on the road. They didn't beat them in their house. They beat them at home. So I'm saying there are times when you run up against a team that just has your number and it's a bad matchup. And no matter how good you play, no matter how good you try to play, that team got you every time. Now this game was, Indiana's hungry. They just took out Milwaukee. And to them, that's a compliment. They didn't say it, but that's a accomplishment for them because they took out Giannis. And Giannis is considered one of the best players in the league today. So they took out Giannis. Even though Giannis is like he's awesome. He's irresistible. He's irresistible force. I'm sorry. He's one of the best center forwards, whatever position he's trying to play in the league. I mean, Giannis would take 5 steps and be from the free throw line to the basket. That's how good he is. And usually when teams play him, when he's around the basket, all four players from other teams surround him. They like trap. I think it's called a trap, where he comes down the middle and they see him coming and they all jump in and they try to trap him. So that's what Giannis is. And, Indiana did that, but then they understood that we got to play the other guys too. And then we had to make our shots. So a lot of games, Indiana was just making shots. And Tyrese Halliburton, the guy's a dog. He's a dog. He wants to win. They have different, other people on the team. Let me see some of the Indiana players. They got Tyrese Halliburton. They got Miles Turner. They got Aaron Neesmith. They got Pascal Siakam, I'm sorry, and Andrew Nehart and Aaron Neesmith and Obi Toppin, T.J. McConnell, Thomas Bryant. Yeah, Thomas Bryant ain't really nobody. But anyway, and this guy named Benedict Mallory, Benedict Mallory. Those guys are some dogs. They're role players, but they're some dogs. I've seen them play. I've seen them play. I've watched games when they played against the Lakers. I've watched games when they played other teams, and they play hard. When you have a team like that that's playing hard, that wants to win, 9 times out of 10 they win. That's just what they do. You hear that noise in the background? That's my daughter and my wife down there talking. Don't worry about it. They're all right. This is Johnny Ray on sports. So anyway, like I said, you got to have a team like that wants to win. That's you know they haven't been there. They want to get there. So they balling out. They know this game could be my last game. In the playoffs. So I'm gonna ball out every game. So this game was pretty even points wise for the Pacers. You had Pascal Siakam had 12, Neesmith had 23, Miles Turner had 23, uh, Tyrese Halliburton had 19, and Andrew Nembhard had 13. So it was okay. The free throw percentage wasn't that good. The 3 point percentage, I'm sorry, wasn't that good. 39% from the free throw line, 51% from the field, and 70% from the free throw line. So they wasn't playing great basketball, but they won. They played. That's what you call balanced scoring. That's what they had. They had balanced scoring. Now for the Cavs, you can tell. I can look at this box score and tell you that. Yeah, well, Evan Mobley didn't play. He got a sprained ankle, and Darius Garden didn't play. So that's two of their better players. And DeAndre Hunter didn't play. Oh, so I didn't see all that. But still, they felt like they was the best team in the league. Donovan Mitchell had 48 points. The next person next to Donovan Mitchell that had the best more points was Max Strus, who had 23 points. And then you had Jared Allen had 22. And Aaron Allen also had 12 rebounds. But I can see right now that Donovan took most of the shots. He was 15-30 from the field and 17 for 21 from the free throw line. So Donovan was trying to take up the load by himself, and he couldn't. He tried. So he had three. I kind of take some of what I said about them being the best team and being at full strength. They weren't really at full strength because they had Darius Garland out, they had Evan Mobley out, and they had DeAndre Hunter out. So that's three of their best players right there that's out besides Donovan Mitchell. So, but Indiana didn't take them lightly. And by the score, because I looked at and actually they won. Tyrese Halliburton won on the last second shot, so it wasn't like Cleveland was hurting. Because I think let me look if I look at the quarters, Cleveland in the first quarter it was 32-15 and ended the first, and then Indiana came back in the second 30. They outscored them 35-29 in the second. Um, Cleveland outscored them by 3 in the third, and then Indiana outscored them by 15 in the fourth. So it was a back and forth game. So it wasn't like Cleveland gave up and said, "Okay, our three of our best players are down, and we can't really do nothing." They played their best. It's just that Indiana, like I said, Indiana is hungry. When you got a team that's that hungry, it's hard to beat them because they don't. They're just balling out. It's like we know we're not supposed to be here. That's the kind of mentality they have. We know we're not supposed to be there, but we're here now. So let's get it done. Now, speaking on Tyrese Halliburton, and there's something I wanted to talk about real quick, but I'm not going to spend too much time on it about his dad. So I don't know if you heard the story. His dad actually ran on the court when they beat Milwaukee and said some words to Giannis. And Giannis, being the player that he was, held back. He didn't know when he said it. Well, Giannis said in the press conference was, I didn't really know who the guy was, and then I realized who he was. But Giannis could have went. That thing could have went so far left because you don't just get a player just lost, and they're trying to, the emotions are high, and you gonna run on the court and say some stuff at it like, I believe the dad ran in his face, got in his face and said, "This is what we do. This is what we do. This is what we effing do. This is what we effing do." And Giannis is looking at him like, "Wait a minute, who are you? First of all, who are you?" But he could have took it a different way. Giannis could have went off on him, could have snatched back at him, could have snapped back, could have pushed him, could have did anything because the guy was right. I saw the video. The guy was right in his face. So this is a message to all you fans, all you fathers of NBA players, all you fans of NBA players, or any kind of sports players. Control your emotions, please, because the players on the court or on the field do enough for all of us. Control your emotions. Don't get on there acting crazy, especially these parents. Parents, please. I'm speaking to the parents of athletes. Don't get crazy. Yes, your kid just won a championship. Yes, your kid just made the last second shot. Yes, your kid just threw the winning touchdown. Yes, your kid made the winning goal. Yes, they scored the winning home run. They got the winning hit. Whatever. Yes, but control your emotions. You can scream all you want in the stands. You can holler and scream, but don't run on the field or the court and act a fool. Because I've heard this before. They said now all people are going to remember is your dad running on court. They're not going to remember the game because they hardly talking about the game. They talk about what happened after the game. It was an outstanding game. Tyrese actually won in the last second again, and his dad ruined it for him. In my opinion, he ruined the whole game for him. So that's too much. And then the NBA, the league talked about it, and now he's banned from coming to the games. He can't come to the home games. He can't come to the away games. They banned him from the rest of the playoffs. So if his son end up winning the whole thing, guess what? He gonna be at home because of one silly act. I understand you get emotional. I got it. I understand it. But check your emotions. It's still a game. You got to think about. That's why it's good to have a good circle of people around you that will stay. Hey, bro, slow down, slow down. I know. Hold on, relax. Because there's a lot of chaos going on. And of course, security can't grab everybody. But still, you know things you should do and shouldn't do, especially to a player. You gonna run in a player's face and say some stuff like that to them. And people say it all the time. They say they lucky it wasn't Draymond. They lucky it wasn't this guy. Well, lucky it wasn't this guy because that guy he would have got a 2-piece and a biscuit. That's all it would have been. If he'd have ran in Draymond Green's face and said those words, Draymond would have gave him a 2-piece and a biscuit, and then thought and just said, "Oh well, I'll pay for it later." Oh well. See, that's Draymond's mentality though. But Giannis is not that kind of player. So Giannis even said it. He said, his mom. I think I don't know if he said his mom didn't raise him like that because I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I know he did say if that was my mom when we won the championship, she had to ask for permission to come to the court because she was afraid that she would get in trouble if she ran on the court. See, different mentality. His mom was like, "Oh, my son won, but is it okay if I come on the court? Can I come on the court since he won?" And then they allowed her to come on the court. But these younger players and these younger parents, not younger parents, but this new NBA parent that's always on the court, that's always doing this, always acting crazy. There's other players, and I won't mention them by name, but there are some players with their dads like are acting crazy, and I'm like, why are you acting like that? Yeah, that's your son, but he's the one on the court. They didn't come to see you; they came to see him play. So relax, chill, have a drink or water or whatever you're doing, but relax. And when the game's over, win or lose, you go see your son after the game. But don't run on the court. Don't act a fool. Don't talk trash. Don't do that. That's not a good look, especially for your sons or daughters who's trying to come up in this area of sports, and you're acting a plumb fool. Because the way social media is now, only thing people gonna remember is what you did. They're not gonna remember the game. They're gonna remember the winning shot. They're not gonna remember the winning goal. They're gonna remember the game. I mean, I'm sorry. They're gonna remember you acting a fool. So, parents, another message to you. Please, 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 please be careful when you go to the game to see your kids play. That's all I gotta say about that. So anyway, this is Johnny Ray on Sports. I wasn't gonna be too long, but I haven't been on here for a while, but I wanted to come back. So after as far as the playoffs go, I'm gonna come back and talk about a little bit more. I might even talk some baseball when that happens because my Dodgers are doing pretty good. I think they won again tonight. So I will talk about it. I don't want to just be a one hit wonder show that just talk about NBA because that's my favorite. My favorite is NBA and NFL, but I do watch other sports. I watch baseball. I watch hockey. I try to get into hockey. Actually, um, for those who actually listen to the show. I'm sorry, not watch, listen to the show. I am putting together a guest to come on to talk some hockey, who knows hockey back and forth. And he talked to me like yesterday about it. Said, "Hey, we got to get on there and talk about it." I said, "Okay, no problem," because I'm not into hockey like that. But I would love to hear his take on it. So maybe I'll get him on via Zoom or something like that. But we'll work on it. And also, I got another guest that's coming up soon. That's going to give you guys some more insight on sports as far as young people in sports and the rudiments of the training and some other stuff he wants to talk about. But yeah, that's coming up soon. So stay tuned. Um, Remember, if you want to hear this again, you missed any of this episode, you can always go to Ray on Sports on Apple Podcasts, on Google, Google Podcasts, on Buzzsprout, on I'm on another I'm on all these other platforms. But if you got your smart speaker, just tell your smart speaker to play Ray on Sports and it will play it for you. So this is Johnny Ray for Ray on Sports. Love to hear from you guys. Remember, if you want to hit me up, talk to me, give me your comments on what I talk about, hit me up at Ray on Sports, and that's rayonsports0905 at gmail.com. Once again, that's rayonsports0905 at gmail.com. If you want to talk about it, if you want to give me some your comments. I've seen your comments on TikTok. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching my little clips I've been putting on there. And thank you for your comments. I love it. I love it. I love the comments. I love it because I love an interaction with the people. I don't say you my fans. I call you my friends. I love the interaction with my friends. So if you want to talk to me, hit me up. Hit me up. RayOnSports0905 at gmail.com. If you want to hit me up on TikTok, I'm on hit TikTok at Johnny Ray /Ray on Sports. If you want to hit me up on any of my social media platforms, I'm also on YouTube at Ray on Sports. I'm also on Facebook at Ray on Sports. So any of those platforms you want to hit me up on, hit me up there. Leave your comments. Tell me what you think about the show. Tell me what you want me to talk about. And if you have some insights on something, let me know. It's a good show. It's a free, not a good show. I mean, it's a great show. And if you want to be on it, hit me up. I don't mind. Just let you know that we'll talk. We'll have some boundaries and some rules and regulations. But for the most part, you'll be able to speak your mind, speak what you want to say. I'm just a lonely guy here, a lowly guy here in the in the sports podcasting world, and I'm just trying to make my mark. So, um, talk to me. Let me know what you think. This is Johnny Ray once again for Ray on Sports signing out. Take care and God bless.